Hello, this is Mrs. Poland for Algebra 2 Midterm Review 2023. And in this video, I am going to go over examples 42 and 43. Solve the equation 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 8x minus 12 equals 0 algebraically for all values of x. I notice that I have 4 terms, and that grouping probably would be a good place to start. We first look to see if there's any common factor with all 4 terms, and we don't. So the next step is we pair the first 2 terms and last 2 terms. I look at the GCF for the first group, and I notice that I have x squared in common to both terms. 2x cubed divided by x squared is 2x. 3x squared divided by x squared is positive 3. I look at the second pair, and I notice that there's a negative sign in common to both, as well as 4. So I'm going to factor out a negative 4. Negative 8x divided by negative 4 is positive 2x. Negative 12 divided by negative 4 is positive 3. I now see that I have a common binomial, 2x plus 3. And I'm going to treat that as a GCF and factor it out. Make sure you have parentheses surrounding it. So that first term, that first blob divided by 2x plus 3 leaves you with x squared, just this x squared. Now I look at the second blob, and I notice I'm going to factor out that 2x plus 3 again, and that's going to leave me, just with the 4. And I look to see with that next line if I can factor further. And I know that x squared minus 4, notice there's a minus, that x squared minus 4 I can factor using difference of 2 squares. So I carry down the 2x plus 3, and I'm going to factor the x minus 4 to x minus 2, x plus 2, and set it equal to 0. I'm now going to set each factor equal to 0. They're all linear factors, and we have 3 of them. And I solve for x. I subtract 3 from both sides. I get 2x equals negative 3. Divide both sides by 2, and I get x is equal to negative 3 halves. I add 2 to both sides. I get x equals 2. I subtract 2 from both sides. I get x is equal to negative 2. And so my final answer is negative 2, negative 3 halves, and positive 2. And that's the answer. Example 43. Given I is the imaginary unit, what is parentheses 3 minus xi, close the parentheses, squared in simplest form? So I'm going to expand that 3 minus xi. And now we're going to multiply it out. You can use the tabular method, you can use double distribution, you can use FOIL. Any method will work. 3 times 3, I'm going to use the double distribution method. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative xi is negative 3xi. Negative xi times 3 is negative 3xi. And a negative times a negative is a positive. X times x is x squared. And I times I is I squared. I can combine like terms, so I get negative 9 minus 6xi plus x squared. And I know that I squared is equal to negative 1. Think back to that I clock. I to the 0 is 1. I to the first is I to the second is negative 1. And I cubed is equal to negative I. So this becomes 9 minus 6xi minus x squared. Now, if it's a free response question, you can leave that as your answer. But sometimes the regions will put this into standard form where the highest degree is first. In other words, you can rearrange this to negative x squared minus 6xi plus 9. So either answer is correct, but sometimes they'll put it into the second form if it's a multiple choice question.